Remote Evil. Book 1. Chapter 19. The Monster Works. This audiovisual book was created by Joseph Russell Tim Pugison. After Cherry was last raped, her routine started to change. The first thing to change was the amount of food and water given to her. It was much more than what she normally was given before. The food and water would last for almost a week by her estimates. She tried to finish all the food and water, but she cannot do it. Her stomach is by now used to eating little food, which is just once a day, and being starved that she almost vomited all the extra food she just ate. The second thing to change was that the garbage hole in the floor of her cage did not open anymore so that she could put her garbage inside of it. She begins to suspect that something very different was happening but has no idea what it is. She waited for something to happen, but nothing happened for hours. She waited and tried to see if there was anything different happening around her. There was nothing happening around her except that she was becoming sleepy. After weeks without knowledge of what is happening around her or of even what it is like outside her prison, she has lost sense of time. But she notices that these time the lights were always turned on. She has already estimated how long before the lights were turned on and off, and she guessed that the lights should have been turned off by now. Her clue is her body clock. She recalls she is always already sleepy even before the lights were turned off, but today she is already sleepy and have been waiting for quite a while for the lights to be turned off, but they are not being turned off. She was getting impatient. She wanted to put the pieces of food wrappers in the electric probes of all the shock collars attached to her body when the lights have been turned off. But she is not sure if there was somebody watching her all the time behind all the many cameras installed all over the room of her prison. After a few more of what seemed to be hours of waiting, she slightly dozed off. When she woke up and felt refreshed from her semi-sleep, she was surprised that the lights were still turned on. She decided to see if there was anyone watching her. She said hello, hello, hello in a loud voice while facing the cameras. She waited for a response, but no one answered. She again shouted hello, over and over again, hoping to get an answer, but no one answered back. She took a piece of food wrapper and rolled it into a ball fit enough to pass through the holes of the fence wire wall of her cage. She threw it at one of the cameras. She kept repeating this, hoping to get a reaction this time from whoever was behind the cameras, but no one reacted. This time she tried seducing her rapist. She posed provocatively and did slutty acts, hoping to get a reaction. No one reacted. She stopped what she was doing and just sat waiting. She waited for what seemed to be several hours again. She uncontrollably went to sleep later. When she awoke, she expected the worst, that she has been raped again. But she was wrong. She has not been raped. She knew because her private parts were not moist or even painful. She also noticed that she is also a bit smelly and grimy already. A proof that her rapist has not raped her, because she already knew that her rapist would wash her and clean her up before raping her. This gave her an idea, but she would execute her idea later. She felt hungry and ate. She again chewed food together with its wrapper and then hid the food wrapper at the bottom of her buttocks while she sat. She wonders if her rapist has decided to abandon her. She decides to insult her rapist, hoping to get electrocuted so she can really verify that she is still being watched by the rapist behind the cameras. If she is electrocuted, then it means someone is still watching her. She starts insulting the manhood of her rapist. She tried every insult and provocation she can think of, but no one reacted to her provocations. In frustration, she pounded her fence wire walls. She still received no reaction from no one. She again waited for what seemed to be several hours, but nothing happened. She guessed that more than a day has passed already without the lights being turned off. In fact, nothing has happened for more than a day for her now. She quickly comes to the conclusion that she was alone. For the moment at least, was her conservative conclusion. She tried to test her conclusion one more time. She decided to carefully cover the electric probes of one of her shock collars with a piece of food wrapper. She weighed the consequences of her actions before she did it. If there was someone watching her, then he or they would electrocute her to stop her from tampering with the shock collars attached to her naked body. Someone could also just enter her cage and remove them from her while threatening her with a gun. But she reasoned that she would rather be dead than be raped again and again by an unknown man or men. She continued to cover the electric probes of her shock collars one by one. There was no reaction from her rapist. Even though there was no one stopping her, she still continued in a very careful way to hide from the cameras that she was covering the electric probes of all her shock collars. She finished covering them all eventually. She was a bit relieved when she has finished, but she was still not sure if her shock collars can still electrocute her even though she has covered their electric probes already. She again tried to know if there was anyone still watching her. Again she tried to talk and then insult the rapist behind the cameras, hoping to get a reaction. But as before, there was still no reaction to her actions. She tried to remove one of her shock collars, hoping this will anger her rapist, but still nothing happened. By now she was almost sure that she has been abandoned by her rapist. She was right, but not completely. Somewhere in a faraway office room, someone is still watching her and trying to avoid detection by hiding his identity and internet footprints using fake online profile generators, disposable emails, proxy servers, VPN, stealth hacking software products and all other software products and devices sold online both commercially and in the black market for just such purposes. He would check up on her from time to time using his laptop while working. He was careful with what he was doing so that his office mates will not know what he is watching in his laptop. Cherry is still lucky. He does not have much time to watch her. He is a busy man at work and he talks to a lot of other employees in his office. He failed to monitor Cherry while she was blocking all the electric probes in all her shock collars with food wrappers. Cherry is still lucky. Her rapist has to work not because he needed money, but he needed an alibi in case the police ask him about his whereabouts. He will use his office mates as witnesses to the police in case they question him. Cherry is still lucky. He will leave her alone for 4 more days until the working week is over, and then he can use his mountain climbing and other outdoor activities as his alibi for his weekend whereabouts. He already finished taking pictures of himself at different outdoor locations a long time ago. He will be posting them on his social media accounts to convince people that he is really doing outdoor activities during the weekend. He has edited the file properties of these pictures also to hide the fact that they are old pictures taken before an earlier time. He has also bought concert tickets which he gave away to random teenagers, making them promise to attend the concerts and use the tickets. This way he can also have an alibi that he goes to the concerts when he really did not go at all to them. He also makes sure that his neighbors hear him coming to and from work by installing a loud exhaust system on his car. He also intentionally increases the sound volume of his television and music player to let his neighbors know that he is at home. He will also use his neighbors as an alibi for the police as well. He is so careful that he spends every free time he has just watching the caged Cherry on his laptop. He cannot wait to be with Cherry. He cannot wait for the working week to be over so he can be with her again to humiliate and sexually abuse her. He is a very happy man. He has never been this happy all his life and he intends to keep it this way. End of chapter.